Oof, I left my glasses. I just realized that I left my glasses, so I will be right back. This is how we're starting the stream. All right, welcome to It Is When It Is Tarot, where it is when it is and it ain't gonna be when it ain't gonna be, I guess. So I feel like in general, I feel like there's almost this energy in like air quotes or whatever, a feeling. There's a feeling that I have where it's almost like there are like multiple conversations that are happening and like none of them necessarily involve me. Or it's not that they don't involve me to some degree. It just feels like there's a lot of conversations happening that I don't have anything to contribute to. And I don't feel the need to say anything just to be heard. So I don't know. This isn't the first time I was like, oh, I should go live or I should do this. But every time I think about it, I'm like, I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to add. But today I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. So I have roughly like half an hour. Which, hey, Holly, how you doing? I am doing splendidly. Thank you for asking. How are you? How you been? It's been a minute. The star was just at the bottom. Now the Two of Swords is there. Yeah, I don't feel like I have anything to say or contribute. So, Queen of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Interesting. So I've just been living my life like it's golden. Excuse me. But yeah. So I only brought two decks with me this time. I got y'all know, the 8-bit fantasy and the lobster recipe playing cards. I'm going to use the lobster recipe playing cards as in lieu of the death dungeon challenges. And I want to take it as like, I put reversals in here. So if a card is upright, it's a challenge that we are like actively engaged in. If it's in reverse, then it will be one that we've already overcome. And I want to pull another card to see how we are approaching it. Like if we approach something, I don't know. Maybe I'll do top and bottom. I think I'll do top and bottom. The bottom of the deck, when I finish shuffling, will be the challenge, upright or in reverse. The top of the deck will be like title card with Lobster Bisque. I feel like we've had Lobster Bisque before. 10 of Hearts, though. Yeah. So the top will be how we're approaching it. The bottom will be the challenge, and then we'll just see what's up. I know I haven't like been here in a minute, but again, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's for me to necessarily weigh in on anything. I feel like, again, it's kind of another one of those times where anything I would have to say, I feel like at some point I've already said. And maybe it's just my own transition in life, you know? So, we'll give it three more. 2, no cut. This is the last one. Top of the deck is the 6 of Spades, deep fried lobster. This is my access to deep fried foods is significantly limited. Like every now and then, I'll just like crave something like fried or deep fried or oily because it's like that's what I'm used to. Not just because it's what I'm used to, but It feels like a non-essential food group. You know what I mean? Oil. Bottom of the deck. Ooh, is the Joker. Lobster lovers pizza in reverse. There should be two Jokers in this deck because there's 54 cards. Jokers would be akin to the Major Arcana, right? Major Arcana don't have challenges. There are no deck dungeon challenges associated with the Major Arcana. Interesting. I feel like that's already a confirmation in and of itself. I feel like there's nothing for me to. Excuse me. It's not that I don't necessarily have things to say, but maybe nothing that bears mentioning, if that makes sense. Like if it's not going change anything, then what would be the point? Anyway, sorry. Do 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 do. There we go. Here we go. So we have this no challenge energy of the lobster lovers pizza. Makes 12 servings. Let's see. The ingredients are lobster meat cooked and cut into bite-sized pieces, tomato sauce, all-purpose flour, oregano, salt, mozzarella cheese, eggs, milk, corn oil, all-purpose flour, Parmesan cheese. Preheat oven to 450 in a saucepan. Combine lobster and tomato sauce. Add 2 tablespoons flour, oregano, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Heat to boiling. Reduce to medium heat and stir for 1 minute. Pour into a 9 by 13-inch baking pan and cover with mozzarella slices. The crust, beat eggs with milk, oil, remaining salt, and 1 cup of flour. Pour over cheese and lobster, sprinkle with Parmesan cheese. Bake until pizza is puffy and cheese has melted about 25 to 30 minutes. Makes 12 servings. Excuse me. Deep fried lobster in a gallon-sized plastic closable bag. Oh, because you got it. Okay, that makes sense. Deep fryer, heat vegetable oil. Corn is a vegetable, right? Is corn a vegetable? It should be, right? I'm like, I feel like if I think vegetables, yeah, corn has to be a vegetable, right? I just opened to the minor arcana page. Deck dungeon challenges. So the Six of Swords is going to be to connect 2 words, right? So 2 glittering silver words are written, 1 level with the top of the door frame, 1 with the bottom. The goal of these puzzles is to create a ladder of words between the top and bottom words by changing 1 letter at a time to connect the 2 words on the wall. If a creature speaks a 5-letter word that is 1 letter different from one of the words on the wall, it magically appears on the wall between the top and bottom words. Once the chain of words is complete, the door opens. The door cannot be opened by any other means. So not only do we have to, and this is the thing, like not only do we have to find the word, we also have to speak the word. The word pairs in bold. Okay, they give sample solutions. So interesting. I feel like we've had the 6 before. For the 6 of Swords, we have to connect the word cards to the word moves, which is interesting because, for me, it's interesting because in my personal life, there's been more movement, less cards. Also, the whole cards to moves, the word has to be said out loud. I think one of these just went in reverse. The hangman just went on its side. with the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands behind it. Two of Wands and the Magician. And then the Seven of Wands. This is so Wands heavy. I mean, what, Venus, did she go into Aries yet? I think she did. Like, I'm having a sign return on all of the inner planets. I mean, the person, like non Jupiter and Saturn, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, Mars in Cancer, Venus in Aries, Sun and Mercury. I don't know if Mercury is in Pisces yet. Sun and Mercury in Pisces. Um, Jupiter trine, air signs. Uranus trine, earth signs. Neptune, as of now, sextile. Saturn is like next door. But anyway, that's fine. I don't have to look into that right now. This is Seven Wands. So between the Hangman on its side and the Magician is the Ace of Wands, the Four of Wands, and the Two of Wands. 1 plus 4 plus 2 is 7. Under the Magician is the Seven of Wands, followed by the Nine of Pentacles. And behind the Nine of Pentacles is the King of Cups. I feel like this, and behind the King of Cups is the Ace of Swords. Okay, yeah. And the Page of Cups is behind this Ace of Swords. I feel like the King of Cups has been significant, but I don't know if that was over here, if that was on the other channel. So because all of this, because we have 7 wands here and 7 wands here, it feels like this is the starting point for these. So I'll do this process to go from the Hangman to the Magician, which again, if the Six of Swords is connecting the word cards to moves, cards giving that like divination type energy, moves giving action. The Hangman is the one that sits in reception, that contemplates from outside of traditional thinking more often than not, but doesn't necessarily do anything, doesn't necessarily go anywhere. Now, healthy and strong internal foundation is important before or as we are making moves in the external or considering whatever we're considering. But it's to go to a point of action. And it's interesting because this could be North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. You got what, water, Neptune, Pisces with the Hangman, and then Mercury and the Magician. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Is anything in Gemini? I think Jupiter, which is the traditional ruler of Pisces. Yeah, have a good night. I don't know when I'll be back. Honestly, but it's fine. The Ace of Wands. Also, I love in some magician cards that I have, they'll hold the wand or the sword or something like that. I love that like all 4 elements are on the table here. There's also a Temperance of Wands because 7 plus 7 is 14. A Temperance of Wands, a Hermit of Pentacles, and then this King of Cups, and the Magician of Swords or Ace of Swords. There we go. Sorry. Now I have 15 minutes. Oof. It's fine. This is such an interesting. So Ace of Wands feels like some kind of new passion or endeavor, a new pursuit. The Four of Wands is to get to a place within the self of being in alignment with it. Now, whether that alignment is like not self sabotaging, not psyching yourself out, maybe it's like upskilling, further education, practice, networking, connecting, whatever. It's like the things that we do in order to align our lives with the potentiality, possibility, probability, and eventuality of that being our experience. And then the Two of Wands is like setting out and actually doing the thing, right? So with this hangman on its side, it's like there's this energy of a prayer answered or a direction that's been given, but it's up to us to sort of like follow through with it. And then we end up in magician energy. And so this hangman again almost comes off as an energy of contemplation, like asking a question to the divine, the universe, God, source, whoever. I've been thinking about this lately. Like, I use universe as a like both the creator and creation, but I think that's the only one that I use sort of interchangeably. Like the divine source, God is I use as the creator, and the universe both like the forces behind it, like active forces behind it, and its passive machination. Active force being like creator energy, passive machination being like the laws, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, right? Like if you do this, then that will happen. And it's just how the universe works. Anyway, there's like an asking or this in between moment, and she's giving Wonder Woman's lasso of truth. And also, it's not upright, but there's something like it feels like the foot is being held to the tree here. So maybe it's a truth. It's like there's a truth that maybe we can't escape or that is continuously validating itself. And it could be anything. It could be the truth of a new cycle beginning. It could be the truth of life coming into a new phase, era, a new time. It could be the truth of like an era or a time or a period of struggle or lack or whatever is over. And because I remember, I think in December, spring came out in the Law of Known Alchemy, but it didn't feel like it was permanent. Like it felt like a warm week or 2 weeks that comes through in the middle of winter, and then you get all your shorts out, or you get excited, or you're a plant and you start to blossom or whatever, and then you have like a frost or a cold, and anything green like kind of dies again. It goes back into its wintry phase. Um, it could be like a cycle, if that's the word. Like maybe there's a truth that we discover, and then there's something that we learn or something that we want to do or some way that we're motivated, and then there's another one, and it's like further and further and further, right? Until we find the thing that we kind of sort of want to act on, and we align ourselves to it. Like, and I think that's why this Virgo, Hermit of Pentacles, even like Mercury going from Pisces, because I remember when I like read ahead into North Node Pisces, it was like everything has to go through Virgo, because Pisces by itself doesn't necessarily, Pisces by itself doesn't easily actualize or manifest or bring things into reality. It doesn't make things solid or real. in an external way, in a way that we can interact with externally. Now, if you want to just like do internal whatever, then that's when you get into like altered states of being. So, meditation, intoxication, whatever, anything that people can use to escape their current reality or to shift into a different one. Um, but again, it's only mental, it's only internal. We don't experience it. And the magician is the one that makes things manifest, like physical manifest. Excuse me. The Seven of Wands here, not only does it speak to this process, but there is something also like taking up the mantle. Here is the divine giving us, you could say, divine inspiration. This is our alignment in marriage to it. This is us like beginning the living of it, starting out on a journey. It goes from the divine's hand to ours, right? From the cloud to the person. And then even in the Seven of Pentacles, you see this person now both hands on the bride with these six in opposition. Um, I think this is interesting. This is where it feels like if there was a place for ego to come into play, it would be here, potentially. I feel like there's also a question if, like, there's a song by Khalil somebody, I think. And there's a line in the song where it's like, you're following the signs, but you're following the wrong signs. Because out of these six wands, or even if you look at the Two of Wands, it's like, did we, or is this Two of Wands character taking the same wand rod that was presented, or is that the one that was presented by the divine? And they sort of like leave it leaning up against the rampart as they go on with this other one. And that's something else I've been thinking about because I know, like, for me personally, I tend to use a lot of like I said this, or like this is what it reads like to me, because I feel like I've heard about like the ego, especially when it comes to reading cards, divination, whatever. Um, for one to claim like spirit's message is a message from spirit as their own is like, oh, like you're big headed and egoic. But for me, I feel like it would be more egoic for me to say that what I'm saying is the word of God. God is speaking through me and word for word. This is spirit. I feel like for me, that requires more ego than me just being like, I'm reading the cards and this is what I'm reading. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between like, oh yeah, I talked to this person and what I took away from the conversation was like this, versus I talked to this person and verbatim, word for word, this is what they said and this is what we're doing. And for some reason, I don't know, I just want to mention that because of the whole like ego thing here. And maybe because for me personally, if I within myself hold it as my interpretation or what I received from the divine or whatever, it, I don't want to say it introduces, like, there's an element of human error that like I'm still accounting for within my own internal workings. And I found a lot of times that things will play out, but they may not necessarily play out how I expected them to. Where it's like, yeah, that was true, but like it like in a way that I wasn't necessarily aware of. Um, So yeah, at least I try to. I mean, sometimes I lean into it, but hey. Um, and yeah, maybe it's I feel like it's in this two of wands, seven of wands. And the like this is what God told me to do. And it's just like it feels like it can be so easy for someone to get a certain interpretation of something, think that they are in their mind be painted as a hero. But then in reality, it's like misinterpreted, misunderstood, miscommunicated. And so it's like we get further and further from something. Now, as these cards came out and as they are, Nine of Pentacles, King of Cups, Ace of Swords, I don't like that's not reading like the case here. As the cards are on the table, the Two of Wands did pick up the wand of the divine. And not only did they pick the right wand, but they are in alignment with like the divine plan, if you will. You can see one as like literally this is the divine with the cloud on the this side. This is the man with the person on that side because they met and had that conversation. And I think that's a part of like the cyclical truth or like discovering more and more truth with the golden lasso of truth holding the hangman's foot to the tree. It's almost like that, like the practice of repeating back to someone what you interpret from what they said so that you can make sure like you're both on the same page. And it feels like that is why the divine can fully let go of this wand, why the Two of Wands can fully take it on, and why on earth they're trusted to hold it as they come up against the challenges of life or just challenge in general, right? Just because something is divinely ordained or just because something is meant to be or something will happen doesn't necessarily mean that it will be without delay or without challenge or without issue, especially if it requires an adjustment from the external, right? It could be a new idea, it could be a new way to use, I mean, that's still a new idea. It's like there may be a time of like proving. So that is, and these are Aries cards. The two and the four of wands are both, that's the first and the third decan of Aries, right? Seven of wands is Leo. Third decan of Leo, excuse me. And then we have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords. And it's interesting. It's not that interesting because, again, we're approaching this lack of a challenge with the major arcana, with the Joker coming out as the Six of Swords. We're going from cards to moves. We're going from passive activity to action that has the power to shape the external. So it's not surprising that the two masculine aces are on the table, Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords. And it feels like whatever this boon is, the majors are boons, they're not challenges. That's like literally the Ace of Wands that's being handed to us from the divine. And fire, wands, red. We have the red Joker here. Even though clubs are black. But like the wand is like, this reddish orange and, this is something that we've been given. But because this is in reverse, this is something that we've already been given. Like that's this whole seven of wands, it feels like where we're actually starting is the Seven of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. But we saw the hangman, the ace of wands, the four of wands, the two of wands, and the magician as context, as background information to how the seven of swords came to be. Almost like if you start a story or a movie in the middle, there's like flashbacks and some kind of exposition of things in the past. And there are movies, there are stories that start in the past. So even if you, even at page one of chapter one, it's like, it feels like in a movie, it would be like a certain year or like 3 years ago. Like there would be something that denotes like this is in the past. So you start in the past, but present day is later. It's that kind of energy. So then with this Six of Swords, now we're in a time of, with the Six of Swords going from cards to moves, even the Six of Swords is a card of transitions. Um, Sailing on to calmer waters. It's like we're in a space of learning how to, of like actualizing this inspiration, utilizing this boon. It feels like coming into the time of sort of moving it forward in a way. Interesting. Everything is here. There's a lot of fire. But if we take the seven for seven, seven wands, nine pentacles, the king of cups, and the ace of swords, and like we have the magician. So after the magician, we have fire, earth, water, and air. If we look at the suits and the breakdown, see now, if we look at the past, this becomes tricky because technically there's a lot more. We see the history behind the Seven of Wands. Technically, there's 14 wands on the table. I feel like there's also something about overcoming circumstance with the Seven of Wands, too. But this is a circumstance that, like, overcoming circumstance is like step zero. That's the exposition, that's the flashback. Again, the story actually starts moving forward, which I feel like is why it ends off the Ace of Wands, Four of Wands, Two of Wands, why it left with the Two of Wands. Like we're seeing someone at the beginning of the journey, of their journey, their departure. But we see like what life was like for them in the village or whatever, wherever they were before they were setting out now. Um, and it kind of ramps up, I guess. Seven of Wands to the Nine of Pentacles to the King of Cups. And then there's this Ace of Swords. It feels like the Ace of Swords represents both the element of least mastery, but also the greatest potential. Like it's simultaneously the lowest and the highest. The ace is both high and low here. This is what minor empress, the Nine of Pentacles. And again, it feels like it emphasized that's like the boon was already received. Now we're in the process of like using it, utilizing it. Okay, like how does this help me in the real world? I feel like I'm gonna pull something else, but maybe I'll just leave it here. Again, it doesn't feel like maybe, yeah, like this is like this is why I don't have anything 3 4 5s. Oh, that was 3 4 3 6. I thought it was 3 4 5 6 on the clock. Sorry. Um, it feels like this is again part of the reason why I feel like there's nothing for me to say, why I feel like I have nothing to contribute. Because again, it felt like we were coming in. First, it was like I couldn't necessarily put words to it. And I was like, it feels like we're entering like F around and find out season. But then it was like we're entering the season where the work begins to work for us, really, where everything it feels like felt like everything up until this point, journey wise, healing wise, it's like that has been concluded, but in order for us to begin the next chapter, again, like everything, the Ace of Wands, Four of Wands, Two of Wands, everything before this point was all like exposition told through a flashback. It was like the prologue, I guess, to the main sequence of events in our story. And I remember um, Sagittarius is temperance. This is the temperance of wands. I remember going into Capricorn season. I'm pretty sure when I read it over here, it was like, even though time is going to keep moving forward and the calendar is going to change, there was something about Sagittarius season that like felt like it was going to stick around. If we didn't move out of it, or if we didn't resolve it or recognize it or whatever, it would just continue, like a lot of things do that are unresolved. We just sort of carry them, continue to carry them with us. And even when we think we drop them, if it's unresolved, we don't. Not fully. I mean, like, if we're aware of it, if we're conscious of it and it's unresolved, and we make the conscious decision to move forward rather than to get into the weeds of something, that's different, because it feels like maybe there are some things in life that can't be resolved in the ways that we would feel that resolution with. That's where like forgiveness becomes really big, or just like, or a certain level of acceptance, right? But if there are things that we're unaware of, and like conscious is like such an interesting, because there are things that we can consciously choose to do. Like, I am making the choice and decision to do whatever, even though I have absolutely no understanding of any of the context or background or how this came to be. I could make a conscious choice to do whatever, but that conscious choice would, in reality, actuality, be an unconscious choice because we don't fully know what. Anyway, it's fine. That's not the point of this. And I have like preferably like 2 to 5 minutes. But yeah, this is a boon that we've already received in the past. So if this, again, to me, it's not reading like this isn't anything that like your eyes are opening up to. This isn't anything new. Not to say that you may not eventually reach this point if if this resonates for you, and it, like, you're not in the Seven of Wands yet, you're still in the Ace of Wands, Four of Wands, Two of Wands of it, you're still like going from the Hangman to the Magician. Like Pisces, I feel like it's such a dangerous energy. Just because in the realm of Pisces it is so easy to color the world in a certain way that it is not in reality. And we can build lives. You can fully live in delusion. Like, there are plenty of people who do, and it has no bearing on physical reality. But as long as you're happy, then I guess ultimately that's kind of sort of all that matters, right? And it feels like, and maybe that's why the Nine of Pentacles is here, because it feels like there may be a question of tangibility and substantiality, right? It's almost like in a world of virtual realities, augmented realities, and eventually maybe holograms, that are indistinguishable from reality. Just at a glance, it may be hard to differentiate what is real and what is a trick of the light, right? What is real and what is a projection. And if we never interact with something, if we never do anything to test its substantiality, to test if it's corporeal or if it's imaginary, like we'll never know. Cool. Well, let's get one more of these since I have so many. Oh, the Ten of Hearts came right back out with the King of Diamonds. I love it. Interesting. We got grilled rock lobster tails and lobster bisque. I mean, Ten of Hearts, King of Pentacles. It feels like the King of Diamonds is a builder, is the investor. But the Ten of Hearts, gives this King of Diamonds a soft edge. Like, this isn't a King of Diamonds, King of Pentacles that is like all about the money and that prioritizes gains and losses above anything. This is like a King of Pentacles with a heart. That is like the family man that cares about his community, the one that like builds people up rather than hoarding. And because of this King of Pentacles, like the whole world around him flourishes. His internal manifests externally in a very beautiful way. This, it may be the Ten of Diamonds. The internal invited to the external. This is that marriage between Pisces and Virgo. I know I have these saved. I really thought. Oh, albums. There we go. Let's see. Oh, come on. I know you're in here somewhere. I thought they were in here somewhere. I guess not. No, they have to be. They have to be. Albums. There it is. Okay, cool. And it's a 10. One second. I don't have any 10s. I'm like, where are the 10s at? That's a 9. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did I not? Oh, I guess I didn't. It's fine. I'm just find this real quick. Maybe. Here it is. It's a 6. The internal invited to the external, inner secret revealed, cognition illuminated. And maybe that's part of the hangman too. The cognition illuminated. And it's interesting because when our cognition is illuminated, how we truly think or feel about something, we are made aware of it. And we can make a choice to face the reality head on and work to a point where it's different, or we can make a conscious choice and decision to ignore it and to replace it with another reality that holds less substance than the one we're trying to put on top of it. So it's like it's more transparent, more translucent. And so because it's so transparent and translucent, because it holds less weight, because when the wind blows, that's the first thing that's gonna fly off. It's like a tarp that's not secured over something. So we put it on there to shield it from the elements. But when there's rain or any element, kind of really, most elements, a lot of elements, there's also wind. And so if we're putting the tarp on something so it doesn't get wet, but we're not securing it, well, the wind's going to blow and it's going to get wet anyway. There's going to be a lot of bleed through. We're going to be confronted more and more and more with the reality, and it's going to feel more and more and more unavoidable, or feel more and more and more concrete than it actually is. But that's because what we're trying to mask it with isn't working. Like, again, like if you're going to make the conscious choice and decision, it has to hold enough substance to compete with whatever is under it, or whatever we're using to mask, whatever we're using it to mask, whatever we're masking with it. And it feels like, again, it feels like that's what tips into the delusion, illusion, and escapism of Pisces. That's why it feels like the South Node. But again, that's like, I feel like it's been in the past few years that I've been aware of astrology and things. It seems like we make efforts, or we tell ourselves we're doing North Node things. I don't know how to communicate it. It's like the North Node is a challenge. The North Node is illusionary. The North Node, we're told, especially through tropical astrology, that the North Node is something for us to reach for and to strive to, and that the South Node is where we're comfortable. And it's kind of bad because it's our comfort zone. But it's like, I feel like sometimes we lean so heavy into trying to be on the North Node path, or trying to move towards the North Node, that we fall short of it, right? It's like if the North Node was in be a good person, and the South Node was in material possessions, right? It feels like our approach would be like, well, the North Node is in be a good person. So everyone for the next 18 months, go out and be a good person. And so we do these like performative things to be perceived of as a good person, to make ourselves, like, to convince ourselves that we're a good person, rather than just like learning to be better people to ourselves and to one another. And the part of material possessions that the South Node is in, it's like how we show up on Earth and what we surround ourselves with, and how those things can be, not always, but can be a reflection of us. And so we work on the self so that the reflection of the self is like a good person, rather than going out and trying to performatively be a good person. Again, that's the barely tangible mask that we sheet, that we just try to like put over things. Anyway, it is lunchtime. I gotta go. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and what you find, I hope that whatever you have been inspired to do, you find the avenue, the medium, the path of success and alignment, and happiness for you. And until next time, again, I don't have much to say. So who knows what next time will be. I feel like, again, this just confirmed that I had a feeling it would like confirm that, like, yeah, this is something that I feel like I've already said, especially within the past few months. This is a point that, whatever. So anyway, bye. Thanks for stopping by, Holly.